up somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear that theme song, it signals that it is time to say a very pleasant night, or time to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web. So we reach and we communicate with you all around the globe. And to my Straight Talk family at base here in St. Kitts, Nevis, we say a very pleasant night. And we extend that to the entire Caribbean region. We say good night to the Kittitian and Nevision diaspora. We know that some of you are in Africa. There's some of you in Europe. And there are some of you in Asia. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I'm at liberty to say good afternoon. And in some cases, yes, I'm also at liberty to say good morning. And we say, extend real special greetings to our first timers. And we thank all who continue to share the link, as a result of which we do get first timers, and for that we are eternally grateful. And for the first timers, we must inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness. We try to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And for the first time in particular, as your host, I must pledge, as I always do, to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. Because here on Straight Talk, nothing, absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We never tried to make it more interesting, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Straight Talk is not about sensationalism. It's not about creating excitement, especially if that comes at the expense of accuracy. Because we always try to lean on the facts. We always try to present what I call the unvarnished truth, especially when it comes to governance in St. Kitts Nevis and within the Caribbean and throughout the world, wherever we may find you. As this program joins us together with people across our federation, we are joined with people in the diaspora around the world. And some we know very well. Some we have met physically. Some we have only met spiritually. And others we do not know, and many we will not meet physically. Some of us will agree, and some will disagree with the positions of truth that are advanced here each time on Straight Talk. And some will disagree. And that to me is fine, that's okay, because we are a different people, so we anticipate and we entertain as well a diversity of views. But please, I always hasten to forewarn you, please do not sadden me by becoming disagreeable. Let us thank Almighty God in the interim. Let us thank Almighty God nonetheless in the meanwhile for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing His praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks one more time for those who continue to share the link. And when you do share that link, we do get, as I said, first-timers. You bring first-timers, please continue to do so. I must always as well inform, in particular the first-timers, that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls at some stage in the show. We include your emails as well. And if you're so minded, call in. The numbers are on your screens. You can see them there. But there's some of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. And we give you access via our email platform. And that address is also on your screens. One word, straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. Some of you also have access to Alexa. And all you have to do is just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio, and you are connected. Simple and straightforward as that. And we thank the host, the owner of Alexa, for giving us the access at a modest cost. And as we say cost, I know many have made donations. Many have promised donations. But whatever it is, we extend our gratitude. For I say, therefore, a big, big thank you. I must also reassure you that no matter what your contribution is or was or will be, it will help us to continue this very important service, a public service it is. So others who may wish to donate, scan that code on your screen. Very simple process, takes you a few, just about a minute or more, and it is highly confidential, trust me. But thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive every Monday and Thursday from 8 until 10 in the PM. We say a special welcome, we must say a special welcome to our junior brigade. Jasmine, Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, Saraya, friend of my grandson, Neymar, Elizabeth, the latest brigade, young brigade. And of course, we always hail the special lady in St. Louis. And to, wow, how's the Queen in Texas? I heard from her just a few days ago. Made a promise, keep your promise. We always have our observations in review as well. It's a time when we highlight the current issues, we do some reflection, we ask a few questions, some give me some homework to do, and we do it. But we ask what was accomplished, how it helped others rather, what changed since, what is expected next. And of course, it's a learning process. So we want to know what new we learned as a people. And after our observations in review, we will begin our thesis for tonight. We always have a thesis, that's our feature, and which I have titled Our Leader Lies Like a Horse When It Is Trotting. And someone reminded me belatedly, old people say, the old jargon, our leader lie like horse a trot. And that's our thesis for tonight. But we move on a sad note. Very sad note, my Straight Talk family. Because we learned of the passing, since we last had a discourse here, of a son, and Nevis in particular, but the Federation, I may add, has lost a son, an icon, DJ Marshall, Sterling DJ Marshall, was departed this earth and has gone to the great beyond. And my memory of Sterling goes back to my own band days and those fun days in Nevis. And just like his earlier departed brother Mick Stokes, we all were brothers, albeit from different mothers. But I want to extend condolences to his family that is left to mourn his loss. I think in particular of Sister Sensi. And I just want to let Sister Sensi know, and the entire family, that death is a process. And as Jimmy Cliff put it, I can say anything tonight, but the truth is, just like Jimmy Cliff said, it's who feels it, knows it. So all I may add is to extend one more time condolences and pray that the soul of DJ or Sterling DJ Marshall will rest in eternal peace. And moving to my first observation, I go down south to Dominica. And I asked the question, or the question is being asked, I should say, when will Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, move on? And in a gotcha moment, journalist Calista Faria of Grenada put this question to the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, my Straight Talk family.
Minister, about 2 years ago or so, when you won again, I was on a program with you where you were being interviewed, and you said that this was going to be a halfway sort of thing. You weren't going the full 5 years. You're halfway there. What's happening next? What's happening next with Roosevelt Skerrit as Prime Minister of Dominica?
Yes. I ask myself a question. I ask myself the same question all the time, you know.
Let's answer it today.
Yeah. Yes. The party has asked me to whenever I'm asked a question, that I should refer that question to the executive of the party. So I will defer the answer to the president of the Democratic Labour Party, Ambassador Lanton.
Very interesting response, don't you find, my Straight Talk family? Deflected the question. Is that an honest response or a deflection? Time will tell. Only time will tell. Ralph Gonzalez next door went for 6 terms, or he had a 6th attempt. So we are watching and waiting, and we ask, what will Roosevelt Skerrit do? And that's a fair question, don't you think? And our second observation relates to a troublemaker, a lawbreaker, and the list will go on and on. And we ask ourselves the question, how could Garth Lucifer Wilkin still remain in the office of the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, and Legal Affairs, with the behavior he displays? And I may add, with the behavior he publicly displays. Garth Lucifer Wilkin broke the law when he refused to pay, according to the Social Security legislation, refused to pay his nanny's contributions, having deducted her wages, refused to match the contribution and pay it into the Social Security Board. In recent times, he threatened, as the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, he literally threatened a citizen. We remember this, my Straight Dog family.
Good afternoon.
Fred, I am extremely disappointed to hear that you are telling people stupidness about my wife. Do not cross the line. Do not cross the f***ing line.
What are you talking about?
Because I will see you with it in court, Reggie. Do not call my wife name to anybody. You hear me?
I don't know if that's
Do not
all right. That's all right.
That's the behavior of the chief legal officer in this country. And his latest display, public display of arrogance, was circulated by a concerned citizen, a taximan, famous taximan at that, who showed us this.
Very interesting here. Very interesting here. Very interesting here. Very interesting here.
Wow. It's getting some trouble to replay that clip. Perhaps for a good reason. But Garth Lucifer Wilkin once again came into the spotlight, my Straight Dog family.
Very interesting here.
Wow. Okay, my Straight Dog family, perhaps that's not to be exposed. But those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Dog family. But again, we ask the question, how could Garth Lucifer Wilkin remain in office? He threatens citizens. His arrogance was displayed down there in the car park at Port Zante. Sorry, I didn't get to play that. I'll get it before. Believe, I hope and pray. But his latest display tells us or reminds us that Garth Lucifer Wilkin is not fit for public office. And those are my observations in review for tonight, and I move right into my thesis, which again I have titled, Our Leader Lies Like a Horse When It Is Trotting. To put it in colloquial parlance, our leader lie like horse a trot. And my fellow citizens, Tonight I have come to tell you that there are moments when language must be sharp, because in St. Kitts and Nevis, the truth has been dulled by repetition and deceit. But tonight we must speak plainly. And we did that before, on more than one occasion. But we must speak plainly about the current political leadership. And when I say leadership, I refer to both sides on the Narrows, over in Nevis and here on the mainland in St. Kitts. But we must speak plainly about leadership that has failed us, not once, but consistently. Leadership that has replaced honesty with habit and accountability with arrogance. My people, we are a nation shaped by movement, by people seeking safety, dignity, and a fair chance. How we respond to the news about refugees from the US reveals not only our policies, but it reveals our character. This US refugee crisis has exposed a troubling truth about our current leadership, political leadership in this country. And now the moment has come when silence becomes complicity. When every major issue is clouded by deception, when truth is bent until it breaks, the people must speak plainly. And frankly speaking, as a former politician used to say, Fitzroy Brand, may rest in peace. Frankly speaking, today, we must confront this leadership crisis, not of policy alone, but of honesty. Whenever we listen to Terence Michael Drew, or for that matter, Mark Anthony Graham Brantley, irrespective of the issue before us, the pattern is unmistakable. On the refugee issue, on national development, on the CBI, on the SEZ, the Sustainable Economic Zone, on Destiny, that project in Nevis. Let's not forget that. Or on promises made to the people. The same behavior emerges again and again. They both lie like a horse when it is trotting. Steadily, automatically, without pause or reflection. Like this, my Straight Talk family. Just like this.
That St. Kitts and Nevis, of course, was approached by the United States of America as the other CARICOM countries, and we took a very proactive approach in sitting with the Americans to reach an arrangement that I think that arrangement is in keeping with our principles and, of course, having the collaboration with the United States of America as well. I know we are intelligent people. I know we have been looking very closely, and I know our people understand that the geopolitical environment at this time is not what we have been accustomed to. We know that there have been shifts, and so being proactive is very important, and I want to thank our people, of course, who have been involved in this. So St. Kitts and Nevis has negotiated and entered into a memorandum of understanding with the United States of America for the potential transfer of certain third country nationals. And I want us to listen carefully, who are citizens or nationals of the Caribbean community. This does not involve anybody outside of CARICOM.
My Straight Dog family, that obviously has created quite a lot of chatter. And these are not minor inaccuracies. They are deliberate falsehoods, delivered with confidence, repeated until confusion sets in and the truth is exhausted. Facts shift depending on the audience. Commitments are announced with fanfare and abandoned without explanation. When challenged, excuses replace answers, and blame is passed instead of responsibility being taken. And this kind of leadership, my people, corrodes a nation. It corrupts as well the nation. It teaches citizens to doubt not only their leaders, but their institutions. It turns public debate into noise and replaces progress with performance. Like a horse trotting endlessly in place, there is motion without direction, sound and spectacle without substance. And let us be clear, my people, a leader who lies constantly does not lead. He or she manipulates. He or she does not serve the people. He or she uses them. And every unchallenged lie lowers the standard of governance and insults the intelligence and dignity of the entire nation. Let us examine the United States St. Kitts Nevis Migration Memorandum of Understanding, I call it. Because the people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve straight talk, not half-truths, not government spin, and certainly not secrecy wrapped in carefully worded press releases, my Straight Dog family. We saw this release, and I take this excerpt from it. And from the St. Kitts Information Service, that's the government St. Kitts Information Service. And they first insults our intelligence about what is this MOU about. We know it's about refugees or deportees. And they tell us here that the MOU applies to third country nationals who are citizens of CARICOM, member states excluding Haiti, and are present in the United States. They're not citizens of the United States or St. Kitts and Nevis. And try to soft soak us into why did St. Kitts and Nevis enter into this agreement or MOU. And this so-called Memorandum of Understanding with the United States, under which St. Kitts and Nevis may accept third country deportees or refugees, was not done in the best national interests. Mark you, only 4 countries have cleared the air, or rather 6, because Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago have not, or have as well, I must say. But only 4 countries have confirmed that they have signed this MOU to accept refugees or deportees. But here in St. Kitts, it was not done after consultation. It was not done transparently. It was done in my view, for the money. And the reason this government needs money so badly is because the economy is in serious trouble. And the Citizenship by Investment program, the financial backbone of this country, has been recklessly mismanaged under Prime Minister Terence Michael Jew. And let's stop pretending otherwise. Just examine the fiscal reality here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Ignore Nevis for a moment, as we already know that Mark Brantley can't spend money. Imagine, for 6 or 7 years or going on to 8 years, he cannot finish the wing of the Alexandra Hospital in Nevis. But Terence Michael Jew is worse when you look at the numbers, real numbers, because this deal did not happen in a vacuum. According to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, St. Kitts and Nevis ran a fiscal deficit of approximately 11% of GDP in 2024. And that is not a rounding error. That is not normal. That is fiscal emergency, my people. Why did that deficit explode? It exploded because the citizenship by investment revenues collapsed, falling from an estimated 22% of GDP to roughly 8% in a single year. A direct consequence of policy confusion, poor external signaling, and reckless handling of the CBI program. And it gets worse. IMF projections show that the 2025 fiscal deficit remains dangerously high, still hovering around 10% of GDP, gross domestic product. Meaning, this government has not fixed or just cannot fix the problem. It has merely been surviving month to month. And looking ahead, even the 2026 budget outlook remains under pressure, with international observers warning that deficits will persist unless drastic corrective action is taken. Former Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards, my Straight Talk family, made that point in Parliament, albeit in a different way. Because Sean did say this.
For the year 2024, Parliament approved an expenditure budget of 1.09 billion, which included 33 million in debt repayment. Revenue for the year was estimated at 1.14 billion, and this included the sale of government lands, which was budgeted to bring in 15 million. During 2024, a further 177 million of expenditure was approved by supplementary appropriation warrants. As at December 31st, 2024, actual revenue totaled 807 million, and actual expenditure amounted to 1.069 billion, which resulted in an end-of-year deficit of $261 million. So, Madam Speaker, when you look at all three documents, 2024, 2025, and 2026, we're seeing massive budget deficits. If you total them, Madam Speaker, you're speaking of approximately $708 million, almost $250 million in budget deficits in 3 short years, 2024, 2025, and 2026 deficits.
And just a correction, almost $750 million, my Straight Talk family. So when you hear this Terence Michael Jew administration rushing into opaque international agreements, beg your pardon, ask yourself this. Is this strategic diplomacy? Or is this desperation economics? And the CBI recklessness, we have learned by now, has consequences. Let's call this exactly what it is. Under Dr. Terence Drew, the CBI program was destabilized. Poor communication with international partners, abrupt pricing and policy shifts, loss of competitiveness, and erosion of investor confidence. So when you damage your primary revenue engine, you don't get applause. You get deficits. You get borrowing pressure. You get foreign dependency. And when governments become desperate, they make dangerous deals. This MOU looks and feels like a cash for compliance arrangement. Our sovereignty quietly traded for short-term fiscal relief. There are more questions than answers regarding this deal signed in silence. The first one, why was this agreement signed in secrecy? No public consultation, no parliamentary debate, no publication of the MOU. Yet we are told, don't worry, trust us. Trust what exactly? Trust a government that refuses to explain how many people may be sent here to St. Kitts and Nevis, and for how long, under what legal status, with what long-term obligations, and at what cost to our already strained society? If this deal is so beneficial, why hide it, Dr. Joe? Why hide it? What is the judicial basis for the United States to deport someone to a country not his own? But let us examine that. To start with, would the country of origin be a party? Which self-respecting country of origin would agree for their citizen to be deported to somewhere other than that country? And I've been reliably informed that Dr. July is taking Barbadians. They're not going back to Barbados because Mia will call elections next month. Next month. For Valentine. Barbados, hear this, or you've heard this on Straight Talk for the first time. Barbados is going to elections. Come March, St. Kitts Nevis is going to elections. The Reds are rolling out. They rolled out in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph lost. They rolled out in St. Lucia, and Pierre was returned. They're now going to roll out in Barbados. Mia Motley will be returned. Next, they will roll out in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we will get rid of Terence Michael Drew and his cabinet of incompetent experts, as he called them. But more importantly, getting back to the refugee or the deportee, would the deportee have any say? Could a treaty decide that I be deported from the United States to Russia without any consultation with me or by anybody? That seems to be a grave human rights issue. One would first have to conclude that deportation to the country of origin cannot take place. But then in that case, the person becomes a refugee and can claim asylum. So this sounds like imprisonment or punishment by another name. Then there's the question. After I am deported from the United States to a country not my own, can I decide I want to go back to my own country? Or can Prime Minister Drew decide no? He agreed with the United States that I am to be here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so, he can stop me from leaving, or can he stop me from leaving? And that becomes a violation of our Constitution, which guarantees freedom of movement. If I don't have freedom of movement, then I am a prisoner. Forced imprisonment can become the subject of a lawsuit against the Attorney General, Garth Lucifer Wilkin. Time he goes as well. And what is his position on this? If after the US reports me here, although I am from another country, I can leave and go to my own country, then what was the point of deporting me to here in the first place? But it is the CBI recklessness I want to address, as it has consequences. And we'll call this exactly what it is. 2 years ago, Mark Brantley, after his own recklessness in trying to save the program, asked this question.
I ask the question, why would any of us join with anybody from outside to destroy a program that has served all of us?
And that was just pretending, because we know what Mark did. But under Terence Michael Drew, the CBI program was destabilized through poor communication with international partners, abrupt pricing and policy shifts, loss of competitiveness, erosion of investor confidence. And when you damage your primary revenue engine, you don't get applause. You get deficits. You get borrowing pressure. You get foreign dependency. And when governments become desperate, they make dangerous deals. This MOU looks and feels like a cash for compliance arrangement. Our sovereignty quietly traded for short-term fiscal relief. A small country like St. Kitts and Nevis cannot absorb big risks. Let me be very clear. St. Kitts and Nevis is not Canada. We are not the United States. We are not a large country with endless capacity. We are a federation of just over 50,000 people. Every single individual added to our population affects what? Affects housing availability, healthcare access, public safety, employment, social stability. Yet this government wants us to accept foreign deportees or displaced persons without even seeing the document that governs the arrangement. That is not leadership. That is gambling with people's lives. Why is the MOU still secret? Other jurisdictions publish these agreements. Canada's Safe Third Country Agreement is public. Elements of similar US arrangements elsewhere are public. So why not St. Kitts and Nevis? Because once the people read it, they may discover open-ended commitments, long-term settlement risk, financial terms that favor the US, or clauses that limit our ability to withdraw. Transparency would expose the truth. This is not governance, my people. It is exploitation. Let me say this carefully but firmly. If this government entered into this agreement to plug fiscal holes created by its own economic mismanagement, then the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are being used as collateral. Our country is not a dumping ground. Our sovereignty is not for sale, and our silence is not consent. The demand is simple. Publish the MOU now. Let Parliament debate it. Let civil society analyze it, and let the people decide. Because if this deal is truly in our best interest, then transparency should not frighten this administration. Why are you afraid, Terence Michael Drew? And if they continue to refuse, then the conclusion is unavoidable. This deal was never meant for public scrutiny, only for quiet fiscal rescue. That is a real issue. That is a real scandal. And that is why the people are angry. The people are angry because we cannot build a future on deception. We cannot solve real problems with false words. The time has come to reject leadership that treats lying as routine and truth as optional. Let us demand better. Better words, better actions, and better character. A nation deserves leaders who walk forward in truth, not ones who trot endlessly in lies. Across the narrows in Nevis, the hypocrisy is even worse. And you can verify by a routine check of Mark Brantley's latest social media post, in which he promotes the Caribbean's opportunity for what he called a brain gain, my Straight Dog family. And I took an excerpt so you can see it for yourself. A brain gain. And the excerpt reads, my Straight Dog family, to the right of your screens, and perhaps we can read it together. Reorient our thinking as a region and as a people, and start to look for opportunities within the Caribbean, Latin America, our motherland Africa, and the global south. Send out the call for those in our vast diaspora to come back home, to lend their talents to Caribbean development. Let the message resonate from the shores of Miami to the mountains of New York that the Caribbean is calling its people to come home. Make land available and develop a range of fiscal incentives to encourage our people to return home. In Nevis, for example, we offered returning university graduates land for $1 per square foot. Tell our people, when you're coming, bring your wealth with you, bring your ideas with you, bring your entrepreneurial spirit with you, bring your training with you, bring your education, insights, and innovation with you. Sell your home in Brooklyn and buy a home in Bridgetown. Sell your shares in the New York Stock Exchange and buy shares in the Eastern Caribbean Stock Exchange. Transfer your bank accounts from the Bank of New York to the Bank of Nevis. The audacity of this hypocrite, my Straight Dog family. With this mixed message, or the mixed messages from our leaders, in one breath, Mark Anthony Graham Brantley is asking our people to come home. Yet in another breath, they are creating SEZs, Sustainable Economic Zones. In one zone on Nevis, his wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, acts as the go-between, a rich billionaire, a rich millionaire, take that back, a rich millionaire, and CBI citizen Olivier Johnson. And he told us this.
Developer is a company, as I believe it's called South Nevis Limited, and that company is working with my wife. So she's acting as a go-between between her client, who's the developer, and landowners, and asking if they're minded to sell their land.
Is that what you want to come back home to, my straight dog family? Act let's go between for this Olivier Johnson, who intends to buy out 2,400 acres of land from the same locals he's asking to come back home. From the same locals in the south of Nevis. And the Premier Mark Brantley called this a game changer. Imagine that, my straight dog family. A game changer.
The establishment of the Special Sustainability Zone, the first of its kind within the Eastern Caribbean, must be seen as a new and proactive approach to public-private sector partnership for development. The build-out of activities within the zone will be a game changer for Nevis, not only elevating our prominence within the region, but also generating significant economic activity across various sectors during both the construction and operational phases. The proposed Destiny development, which is expected to occupy just over 2,000 acres of land, is akin to a high-end ultra-luxury villa and resort development. This development will position Nevis as a destination for high-end investment, surpassing any scale of development that we have seen in our sub-region. Once we have completed the final negotiations, we'll be in a better position to advise all residents of both St. Kitts and Nevis. The final agreement will be brought to this assembly, for ratification, and will be made public as part of the legislative process.
And that's what he wants you to come home to. Those of you in the diaspora. The last census revealed this, my straight dog family.
The estimated population of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis for 2022 is 51,320 persons, marking an 8.7% increase over the 2011 census count of 47,195 persons. This reflects an increase of 4,125 persons over the 11-year period, averaging an annual increase of 0.76% during the intercensal period. The island of St. Kitts is home to 38,138 persons, accounting for 74% of the federal population, while Nevis, with 13,182 persons, comprises the remaining 26%.
And yes, my straight dog family. And guess what? 10,000 families will settle in that SCZ on the south coast called Destiny. And if you do the simple mathematics and estimate that a family of 4, a husband, a wife, and 2 independent, 2 children, that will be 40,000 new citizens in St. Kitts and Nevis. And Mark tells you what? Come home. But that Mark Brantley plan is threatened by the US. It is threatened by Canada. It is threatened by the United Kingdom. And most recently, by the European Commission, my straight dog family. And the European Commission is clear. Having a CBI program is in itself grounds for visa suspension. And this was in December 2025. So, the only solution is to sell refugees, deportees, in the place of citizenship. Is that the position of the Jew administration? In August 2025, they do get money. In August 2025, for example, my straight dog family, Rwanda and the United States agreed that Rwanda would accept up to 250 deportees from the US under a similar arrangement. According to Human Rights Watch and reporting that has reviewed the agreement text, the deal included roughly $7.5 million US plus financial support given to Rwanda as part of the arrangement. We cannot build a future on deception. We cannot solve real problems with false words. The time has come to reject leadership that treat lying as routine and truth as optional. Let us demand better, my Street Dog family. Better words, better actions, and better character. A nation deserves a leader who walks forward in truth, not who trots endlessly through lies. And our leader lies like a horse when it's trotting, or as our elders used to say, our leader lie like horse a trot. And that's my story tonight, my Street Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will open your lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, and I'll do so momentarily, my Street Dog family, I anticipate that you would respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. And let us, my Street Dog family, say and do the things that are beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of doing and or saying those things, let us try to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 9 o'clock, right to the top of the hour, we say good night to our first caller. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liebert.
Good night, my dear. And how are you tonight?
I am great.
Good to hear you.
Politics is the only profession.
It's the only profession
where you can lie, cheat, and steal.
Lie, cheat, and steal.
And still be respected.
Still be respected.
No man can be rich in politics unless he is a crook.
Wow. Can be rich in politics unless he is a crook.
I repeat, politics is the only profession where you can lie, cheat, and steal and still be respected. No man can be rich in politics unless he's a crook. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening as well, my dear. Always gets in pretty early. I'm happy for that. And always provides thought-provoking quotations from across the narrows in Nevis. And this one is no exception. Politics is the only profession where you can lie, cheat, and steal and still be respected. No man can be rich in politics unless he is a crook. I can say bravo to that, my Street Dog family. Very interesting first call as usual with my quotations. And we go back to the lines and say, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Okay, we don't seem to have that caller. But yes, politics, a very interesting first call there, is the only profession where you can lie, cheat, and steal and still be respected. No man can be rich in politics unless he is a crook. Think about that, my Street Dog family. I am thinking myself. But you may have just joined me. And tonight we are discussing our thesis, which I have titled, Our Leader lies like a horse when it is trotting. It's a colloquial way to say that. I remember just after I already circulated. Lies like horse a trot. But my Straight Talk family, what has been making the rounds all the time, and I forgot to make mention as well of the fact that St. Kitts and Nevis has found its way on a list of 75 countries in relation to suspension as it relates to immigrant visas. And I think I owe my viewership the clarification that came out from the U.S. Embassy to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, and the OECS. In fact, this media advisory, which I've posted on your screens. And it says, dated January the 15th, that's today, and I quote, effective January 21, 2026, the Department of State is pausing all visa issuances to immigrant visa number 4 applicants from 75 countries, including Antigua and Barbados, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and the Grenadines. Immigrant visa applications who are nationals of affected countries may submit visa applications and attend interviews, but no immigrant visas will be issued to these nationals during this pause. And very important in the last paragraph here, this announcement only, underlined, only affects immigrant visas. Non-immigrant visas are not affected by the pause. So those visitor visas, as we call them, B1, B2, and so on, they are still being processed. So the announcement, as I just intimated, that's on your screen. If you read that last paragraph, the last sentence, the very last sentence there, non-immigrant visas are not affected by the pause. So this announcement, as it says, only affects immigrant visas, those who go in for green cards and so on, to put it in local parlance, my Straight Dog family. So yes, it's now 7 past the 9 o'clock hour. And if you have just joined me, we are examining our thesis for tonight. Our leader lies like a horse when it's trotting. And I'm gonna dispense of see what emails we have here. In the meanwhile, while I await your calls, my Straight Talk family, and this email reads, boy, them fellows really good lie and thief, you know. Well, those millions of dollars that they say they gave Marriott as a bailout in order to stabilize the hotel, Marriott did not get all the money. but got only a portion that required no interest. Therefore, it is fair to conclude that the rest, millions gone in some of them pockets, a bunch of thieves, liars, and vagabonds, they really have to go, reads this email. And for those who may be pondering about that Marriott issue just raised there by that email, and it was actually raised in Parliament some time ago by the third Prime Minister, Timothy Harris. Remember, he was challenged by the second Prime Minister, Denzil Douglas, and this is exactly what transpired in the Parliament during the budget debate. And just to jog your memory, this is what that email was talking about.
In the report that has accompanied the documents for this budget debate, I found it curious to learn that a loan of $27 million was made to aid in the stabilization and long-term viability of the largest hotel in the country. At the time when, if we listened to the presentations, the hotel sector is...
Speak again, I
didn't even finish my point.
He doesn't have to, based on the rule.
Yeah.
I recognize the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 6.
Madam Speaker, again, the distinguished member opposite is making reference to a loan to the largest hotel in this country of some $27 million. And he's reading from a document. Please share the contents of what you're reading. What's the name of the document? What's the name of the hotel? You can't be making statements like those in this parliament.
You're not allowing me to finish, you interrupted me.
But you had gone on. And if you are misleading, the public must not hear negative things which are misleading things.
So before we proceed to the member for St. Christopher 7 responding, I need to make...
That was the interchange between the two former prime ministers. And one wonders, how is it Douglas was unaware of this $27 million? And the Speaker, Lanine Blanchett, as usual, comes in with her lectures. But my Straight Talk family, if you've just joined me again, we have looked at our thesis. Our leader lies like a horse when it is trotting. And as we examined our thesis, I made the point earlier, and it bears repeating, that there are moments when language must be sharp, because in St. Kitts and Nevis, the truth has been dulled by repetition and deceit. There's too much deceit, too many lies, too many untruths, my Straight Talk family. So tonight I encourage us to speak plainly about the leadership we have, and that leadership has failed us. Over the last, going on to 4 years, that leadership has failed us not once, but consistently. It is a leadership that has replaced habit, or replaced honesty, I should say rather, with habit, and accountability with arrogance. They are so arrogant, my Straight Talk family. My people, we are a nation shaped by movement, by people seeking safety, dignity, and a fair chance. So how we respond to the news about refugees from the United States of America being allowed to come into our land without details? It's a big secret. But it reveals not only our policies, but our character. And my Straight Dog family, this refugee crisis has exposed a troubling truth about our leadership. And now the moment has come when silence becomes complicity. When every major issue is clouded by deception. Every major issue is clouded by deception. You hear them talking about houses, to spin the fact that before the court is the East Coast Housing Development Brian Singh and the Attorney General. Remember, they announced some 2,400 houses will be built over a 4-year period. And they now come with this propaganda. All of a sudden, NHC is building all these houses. Where are they building them? In the bush? In the mountains? All of a sudden, they've built hundreds of houses. So why did they enter into this agreement with East Coast Housing Development? So every major issue is clouded by deception. Brian Singh referred to the AG and the minister as being fraudulent. They continue to cloud every issue by deception. When truth is bent until it breaks. And I come to tell you tonight that the people must speak plainly. And frankly speaking, today we must confront a leadership crisis, not of policy alone, but of honesty. Because whenever we listen to Terence Michael Drew, or for that matter Mark Anthony Graham Brantley, irrespective of the issue they bring before us, the pattern is unmistakable. But the issue of refugees that I've focused on tonight, the issue of national development, that too I've focused on. So to the CBI, so to the SEZ, and certainly on Destiny, this Destiny project, and on the promises made to the people. But when we look at all of these issues, the same behavior emerges again and again. both leaders from across the Narrows and from St. Kitts lie like a horse when it is trotting. Steadily. They lie automatically without pause or reflection. And if we follow Terence Michael Drew, he tried to tell us about his skillful diplomacy.
That St. Kitts and Nevis, of course, was approached by the United States of America as the other CARICOM countries, and we took a very proactive approach in sitting with the Americans to reach an arrangement that I think that arrangement is in keeping with our principles and, of course, having the collaboration with the United States of America as well. I know we are intelligent people. I know we have been looking very closely, and I know our people understand that the geopolitical environment at this time is not what we have been accustomed to. We know that there have been shifts, and so being proactive is very important, and I want to thank our people, of course, who have been involved in this. So St. Kitts and Nevis has negotiated and entered into a memorandum of understanding with the United States of America for the potential transfer of certain third country nationals. And I want us to listen carefully, who are citizens or nationals of the Caribbean community. This does not involve anybody outside of CARICOM.
And my Straight Talk family, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, are not minor inaccuracies. They peddle deliberate falsehood with a kind of confidence. They repeat it until confusion sets in and the truth is exhausted. They shift their facts depending on the audience. Commitments are announced with fanfare and abandoned without explanation. We can think of the Jane France Hospital. We can think of the Basti High School. We can think of the Pepper Project, Tabasco. Lots of fanfare, but they seem to be abandoned without explanation. Of the Pepper Project, the plants of the peppers, have they germinated? What's happening to the Tabasco Pepper Project? With all that fanfare that we had just over a year ago. We were supposed to be exporting pepper. What's happened to the export of Tabasco pepper, my Straight Dog family? Well, at 22 past the 9 o'clock hour, I go back to the lines and say, caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, Patches, man. People are scared to call in tonight or what?
I wonder why.
Yeah, good night to you. Good night to you and the listeners, man. We need not be cowards. We need to step up to the plate and call them out when we need to. Haiti joined CARICOM, it seems like, July 2nd, 2022?
Mm-hmm.
And I stand corrected. Haiti is a full member of CARICOM, right?
Haiti.
Why?
Okay.
Haiti.
Okay,
Yeah, Haiti. Yeah, Haiti. So why should they be excluded from this arrangement?
Well,
Patches, the bully in school, when you come across a bully in your class, he don't have to announce to you that he's gonna take your lunch from you. When he sees you in the field outside for recess and he wants to take your lunch, he's just going to take it. At the bottom of the year, when Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda was on a list, St. Kitts and Nevis had to probably be on that list already. We were acting like we were rejoicing. Remember now, these CBI islands, they said they form a pact to move collectively. So undoubtedly, when America start coming after them, they're gonna come after them collectively. But I already said on here at the bottom of the year, just like I did not like the year before. At the top of this year, we're gonna see our island names on the list. But the bully don't have to produce a list like that. When these guys pick up people in this country, and all of us is not safe. When they pick up people in this country, they can do what they want to do with you. They can just throw you out if they want to. They don't have to give nobody no warning, and they don't have to publish no list. Man, this Trump administration, they're not playing. Our leaders in the Caribbean are divided. We need unity. In our little space of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Premier and the Prime Minister, they got the country deadlocked. No opposition across the Narrows. These guys can run away with any amount of reckless spending, and they can do any amount of evil to St. Kitts and Nevis. And they're being caught in their lies, a pack of lies. They're being caught in a pack of terry. It's all in the open now. What's going on right now with the USA policies, immigration policies? Who knows? This might be part of that Martinez playbook. And America is watching the Caribbean. It seems like they might reward Trinidad and Guyana with those visa access. And two fundamental things I'm going to throw out before I get off, unless somebody is coming, is one, the word refugees. We need to go in the dictionary and look at that word. Let's go back to when Trump was on the campaign trail. He called these people in the United States that he don't want here criminals. They're terrorizing our cities, and I want to get them out. So all of a sudden, they're sending out refugees. We know the difference between refugees and regular deportees. I mean, refugees normally they flee their land for better, based on like certain things like instability in their country, war, natural disasters. Like the Haitians was down there when the gangs them start terrorizing Haiti, and they needed a place they needed some refuge. I stated they should have tried to let some of the Haitians in, meet them into the country, put a cap on it, and let them come in and help us out with different segments in the society, agriculture. But they didn't want that. Now they're forced to accept people from anywhere and any type of people. Man, these guys on the ground, they're shown a lot of incompetence in the last weeks. It's getting worse and worse. The more we talk on here, situation in St. Kitts and Nevis is getting worse and worse. The current governments on both islands need to be replaced. A lot of crooks. You hear that quote from that lady? Crookedness, corruption. St. Kitts and Nevis is probably the most corrupted place in the Western Hemisphere based on size. And these bad apples, they got to go. And if you take Donald Trump to pick them up, because we're not holding them accountable in our own space, well, so be it. So be it. We wait and we watch the rise, like them Jamaicans say. And if these guys on the ground, morals are gone, and they're lying to the people and doing all manner of evil to the people, when they put them hands up in the sky and put that one hand up, one hand in the Bible, well, it's not a good idea to lie in the Bible. They take that oath to represent the people, and they're not doing that. We need governments of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we don't have it right now. And I hope the electorates are awake, because guess what? Even Stevie Wonder can see what's going on in St. Kitts and Nevis. And patches, those legislations they got that's blocking people from in the diaspora from really coming and giving some put back put back into their own contribution into their own country, they need to get in the parliament and remove that. Sinkis and Nevis people need to stand up. And of all the recent revelations, the people need to go in the street and demand fresh elections and demand that we get up to speed with food and becomes food sufficient. Because when they lock off the switch on us, man, and stop them boats from coming from Miami, we will stay in our space and we will suffer. So I made the distinction between refugees and deportees and patches, immigrants and non-immigrants. We need to make that distinction as well because Trump, remember, he's after foreigners becoming citizens in this country. So the block that he put, the freeze that he put the freeze on the which group of people that was? He put the freeze on the immigrant, right?
Yes.
He put the freeze on the immigrant sector because that sector is the sector that will be on the path to citizenship in this country. So they put the freeze on that because that's the group of people that mostly want to stop from coming here. The ones that's non-immigrants, they can regulate those ones because they're going to put different regulations on that group of people because they can let them in and back out. But remember, that group of people, they're going to have the bonds on them and they're going to regulate their stays in this country. If you violate and you overstay, then you might not get a visa again. So they're doing that due diligence, and believe it or not, it's great diplomacy from the American side. And our leaders in the Caribbean need to pay attention, get up to speed, and come up to the time. I'll leave it there, Patches. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And yes, I have put that on your screens. The media advisory that came from the U.S. Embassy to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, and the OECS. And if you can glean from the final paragraph that the announcement which is in the first paragraph, effective January 21, 2026, the Department of State is pausing all visa issuances to immigrant visa for applicants from 75 countries, which include Antigua and Barbados, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And St. Kitts and Nevis, believe it or not, we are listed with countries like Iran. That's not good news for us. But nonetheless, to take the point of the last caller there, the announcement only affects, if you can look at the penultimate sentence there on your screens, only affects immigrant visas. But non-immigrant visas are not affected by the pause. Let's go back to the lines and say, caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, thank you, Brother Patrice. Good night.
Good night, sir.
That was a brilliant perspective by my colleague, Mr. Jones.
Okay.
And here I come with mine. I've been waiting for you for quite a while, and now here it is. Now, I've said before, and I will reiterate, the leaders of any country will cause their people to bear hardship, and perish. The leaders of the country. The United States government doesn't have a problem with the people itself. But in order for the nonsense to be stopped. That is why we are facing what we are facing now. Not just St. Kitts and Nevis. They have failed to vet all foreigners who seek our passport, our patrimony. They have failed to vet them. And as a result, this is the consequences the people are facing, all because of the leaders. You see, the money that they were getting from the CBI, not just St. Kitts and Nevis, had sweet them. And I will cite Mr. Gonzalez, quote, the money was too sweet, so then I had no time to stop. Now reform, now review, so they continue. But let me stick a pin there. Remember Philip Martinez? He has done his job, and people think he disappeared. But guess what? It's now in the hands of the U.S. government, State Department, Department of Justice. This is now the hammer swinging, and the people are facing it. The people are feeling it. So I will say to the Caribbean people and others elsewhere, your government have failed you miraculously. Big, big, big time. And it's your government you should be going after, not the U.S. government. The U.S. government have to protect its boundaries. They have to protect itself. All because of failure. And I have no kind of remorse for any one of them. All that money, now that we are in this situation from the CBI, and let me talk to the OECS countries, CBI territories, they didn't give, they didn't share no kind of dividend with its citizens. They thieved the money, they stole the money, and put it in their pocket for their all self-aggrandizement.
Aggrandizement, yeah.
Yes, correct me if I fall off a little bit. Sometimes I get a tight tongue. Okay? No, the citizens has nothing at all. Not even rocks, because all the rocks are gone. So there's nothing. Topple your government and get them out immediately and form a new government. Give new candidates a chance. Give people who are hearty to your country a chance. But let me narrate down to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay.
Our government have to be gone tomorrow or before tomorrow. They are the failure, and I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to spread it any more than that.
Okay.
And last but not least, may God bless the Federation of St. Kitts, and I'm talking about the people. But we will overcome.
Yes.
We will overcome.
Okay.
Thanks for that time.
Thank you very much. We go back to the lines. Thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live.
Hello.
Yes, you're live, sir. Could you?
Yes, could you explain to the general public the difference here with the non-immigrant visa and the other visa application?
Well, like I put on the monitors earlier, the immigrant visas are the ones who are trying to get residence in the United States, as people who are trying to get, as we call it, the green cards, and which can lead eventually to citizenship. Whereas the non-immigrant visas are the B1, B2s for visitors who are people who do business in the United States. I don't know if that explains it for you.
So if you go on holiday, you apply for that too?
Yes, if you go on holidays, that's the non-immigrant visas. They're not affected by the pause, according to that release from the embassy in Barbados or to Barbados.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Don't mention, man. Yes. Okay, let's go back to the lines. caller. And again, just for clarification, that media advisory is on your screens, and it says, and the very last paragraph is most important. It says the announcement pausing visa issuances, the issuance of visas only affects the immigrant visas, those who have filed, whether their spouses have filed, their family have filed for them to get in the first instance, to get your green card, as we call it, your stay in the territory. Those are the only ones affected. But those who want to take a trip or holiday, or do some business, for the non-immigrant visas, just the B1, B2, I think, are the ones I'm familiar with, they are not affected by the pause. Let's go back to the lines. Thank this caller for holding. Call you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Patrice. Good night, Patrice. Good night.
Good night, my brother.
Patrice, first I always want to give God thanks for life. The thanks for the Federation of Think It Needed. Now, Patrice, as Mr. Welcome was talking about our leaders, how they do the country and got the country. Patrice, who put the leaders them there? Is the people put the leaders them there? And if we see the leaders them then doing the things we want them to do for the country, he had an election going to come and we vote them out. Look under the farm at Dr. Douglas for 20 years. Our sugar land, most of our sugar land in private land right now, is private land. How our sugar land come private land? Our national land come private land. Land where we four parents them done work hard pan. Right? Sometimes when you go and you try to piece of land, when you look that is private land. That is private land. This is private land. That is private land. How they come private land? And in private land for the ordinary woman and man who live in this country, who work hard pan those land, before parents work hard pan those land. It's private land because the rich man them come in and buy out the land, buy the lot. Just like what's going to take place in Nevis soon. And just when they went in the house to pass that bill, Patrice, we people really real. When we elect leaders and we see these things going on, Patrice, election come and you do, Patrice, to be truthful, you know, me not blame the leaders, me not with that, you know, people build Donald Trump, talk on a negative thing about Donald Trump. Donald Trump campaign said what he going to do before he gets in. Twice. He lose one time, the second time. And then he campaign again and he say what he going to do. And the people still elect him back to be the president of the United States of America. Is we elect leaders. And if leaders ain't doing the party we put into government, ain't doing the right thing, Patrice, we got a right 25 years up to get rid of them. Patrice, have a wonderful night. May God bless you and keep you and forget anything else I come back.
Thank you very much, as usual, for your contribution. And again, just for clarification, as I did in fact post on the monitors on your screens there, the media advisory. And just for clarification, as I know many have worried about it, you know, in simple terms, the immigrant visa, right, is for permanent or for those seeking permanent or long-term residence. It's the first legal step, I believe, toward settling in the USA or territories of the USA, and the first legal step towards citizenship, right, which is different from a non-immigrant visa, which is a temporary visa, such as a tourist a student or work visa. You can get a work visa, I think, as well, which is temporary. But for a tourist visa, visitor's visa, as we said, tourist or student visa, that's what we call the non-immigrant visa, right? But the immigrant visa allows you to live in the country indefinitely, work without needing a work permit, separate work permit, to access social services. And this is what I think the Trump administration is concerned about, what they call the public charge, the access to social services, which is dependent on the country. But as I said, the non-immigrant visa, for those who want to just take a holiday, that, as you can glean from your screens, on the very last line, the non-immigrant visas are not affected by the pause. Okay, my straight dog family. So just be guided accordingly. I can't get it off my screen. I wonder why that's not coming off my monitors. But again, just be guided accordingly by what I posted there earlier. So, yes. And someone mentioned earlier as well about Haiti and what seemed to be the discrimination against Haitians, and that's a long-standing issue because it's but in truth and fact, the countries in the CARICOM countries, I am not certain, I stand to be corrected, but most are not signatories to the 1951 United Nations Refugee Convention, or have domestic asylum legislation. I don't know if we have, I don't think domestic asylum legislation here in St. Kitts. But two, again, we have small populations and very limited resources. So governments would be afraid and cannot really absorb large numbers of people because they need housing, they need health care, they need jobs, and they need security support as well. And the matter of Haitians, the crisis was always large scale and ongoing for a long time. It's not a short-term emergency. So accepting Haitian refugees could trigger unlimited arrivals. And countries like St. Kitts and Nevis, small countries, lack the capacity even to return these people. Let's go back to the lines, my straight dog family, and say good night to this caller you live. Hello, caller.
Hi, good evening, my husband, Kalikwan Aunt. How are you?
I thought you gave me the divorce. I'm still your husband.
How are you this evening?
I am peaceful, my dear. What about you?
Oh, I'm here giving God thanks. How the whole year treat you and how the new year? What the new year bring to you?
Well, God's been good to me. I feel in a state of good health and trust that
Amen. Amen. The same with me too and my family.
Okay.
Let us give God thanks and praise all with what's going on in the world. Let us give him thanks and praise because he is good to us.
Oh, yes.
So what is the topic tonight?
Well, we our thesis tonight, we looked at our leaders who lie. I don't know if you ever heard this old saying, lie like when horse a trot.
Yes, we have the wrong leader.
Okay.
Wrong leader we have tonight. Mm-hmm. But one day we're going to get freedom. By the Almighty God, He's going to remove whatever stumbling block. Because this Prime Minister where we have here, he doing all kind of man, evil, all kind of thing to think it's people them and thinking people them all shut and they can't see what's going on. Wherever paper here sign who bring in the criminals them in the place, them people were in jail, the jailers them. Where did they country bringing them inside the country for? Huh? Where you bringing them in the country for to kill Harvey? Mr. Lloyd, when is the election, eh?
Some people say March, so prepare yourself.
Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. We're going to be free. Free at last. I well want it happen. Master God, spare me life to see that day. Spare our life to see that day. Once and for all, they have to go. One-term government for them. The same thing that thing, Timothy. Ha-ha. He coming back up on the backside. He coming back one pandemic because from the time they got in there, from the time they got inside that office there, me ain't say do nothing. The economy going down. Things getting hard. People are gonna money. People are gonna money. Who make no shopping? No, they don't pay the bills and all them things there. They take the money and they scandalize it. The bank book must be well big out now with people tax money. When you bring into the country for the new year, me and see you come on the radio to have no kind of say. When you bring into for us for the new year, Timothy Harris will come on and get some kind of thing for the new year. Nobody here that he come on to say nothing. And if you talk a lot here, tell Lloyd Street, he and he cabal them need to pack up and go. We had enough of them, we get fed up of them, and we more in turn from them. Because they not do not let them bring them to the country. They not study poor people who put them in there. But the same people put them in there, Mr. Loibon. The same poor people put them in there. They're going to take them back out. Because when they pull the table, they pull the chair, and they sit down on the table and they have the decent breakfast. The poor man who put them there can't get a decent breakfast. A man is a little bit of bush tea and a piece of bread and a well snake. God not like ugly. And when God ready, God gonna move in a mysterious way. He gonna move them from our feet once and for all. And Mr. Liban, me not want to talk about this here, but me talk about it now, That commissioner tonight only that I say, because the wrath of God gonna respond him, Yes, the wrath of God gonna respond the commissioner. Wherever he be tonight, the wrath of God gonna respond him. You have a wonderful good night. And I love you and get home safe.
Thank you. I love you more, my dear. Let's go back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patrick, good night again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Patrick, you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Politics. Go ahead.
Yeah, Patrick, yes. Now, 2022, the Labour Party campaign, and say, what they're going to do when they get in. They talk about the hospital, they talk about the brand new, the Barstow school, they talk about these load of houses they're going to build, and all kind of different projects they talk about. And we ain't seen none come to suggestion yet. We ain't seen none yet. So, what you want to tell me? These things where the campaign said in 2022, when they get in, what you want to tell me? If they accomplish these things by the 12 years they're in government, you think the people should put them back in government?
Of course not.
And our hearing is more deceitful and lawyer and all kind of things? No, be real. We listen now, we say we're 98% literate. And if we're 98% literate, and you're on campaign say you're going to do all these things, you don't see nothing much doing in agriculture. Talk about agriculture, dung. You can't get sweet potato, you can't get a coconut. Everything coming from overseas now. Everything from overseas, even sweet potato. Where our fertilized land used to be so good. We cannot get our local sweet potato in our land them now. What is that? Patches, can't this man there, Mr. McMahon. We got to change until we get the right thing, the right people to run the country. We can't afford this kind of deceitfulness all the time. Every time he come on any talk show or any program he gone back to the unity government. With the unity government. And this better than how, this better than this and that better than that. And never before this thing happened in different Dr. Simmons' administration, the administration of unity. Never happened before. Amazing, nothing.
Okay.
And your coast your bill when you are renting. The oil out men were paved. Just in 7 years, look how much you accomplished. Look how much you accomplished just in 7 years. These men going to 5 years and up to now they can't get that. They can't go back to school and they go. They can't go hospital and they go. And different things and they go. They can't get agriculture in place. The guy from Nevis was doing so well in the agriculture and the unity. Doing well. The girl, Alexis Jefferson, was doing well in the agriculture. And unity lose. And the job right back. But I don't know here. We got to stop, look and listen. And I call many people to do the right thing for the country. You only could do the right thing for the country. That's why I see so much country end up in a situation like how they end up in a lie, deceitfulness, and you be doing the right things from the leaders then. That is our wonderful night again. God bless. I ain't gonna come back.
God bless you as well. Thank you for your intervention. Patches, we the people of this federation reads this email. Demand to see a copy of that MOU signed by July. We can't trust anything that vagabond says. Remember when July got into government, the news reporter from another island asked him how St. Kitts was able to do all these things for its citizens, even during the COVID. His reply was, we have been saving for a rainy day. July had just got into government. What the hell did he save? It was the previous government led by the great fiscal manager Timothy Harris. But July didn't want to say that. July reminds me of Satan. The Bible says that Satan was a liar from the beginning. And we should all see that July and his gang of worthless vagabonds has been telling us lies since they got into government. This our final email for the night as we are on the downhill side. Patches, I understand that Marsha plans to have a big opening ceremony for the bathrooms in the Pelican Mall. After going on 4 years, Marsha finally got around to fixing them. This will be Marsha's greatest accomplishment since she became Minister of Tourism. Remember her predecessor, Marcella Liebert. Marcella's greatest accomplishment when she was in government was the renovation of a bathroom at Prickle Pear Alley. Old labor, new labor, same labor, bad for the country. The only things they're good at are flying out of the country, raping our treasury, and filling up their greedy pockets. What a set of good-for-nothing, worthless vagabonds, reads this email. And as we wind down tonight's programming, my Straight Talk family, I recall our very interesting quotation for the night, coming from across the Narrows. Politics is the only profession where you can lie, cheat, and steal and still be respected. No man can be rich in politics unless he is a crook. And as we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Talk family, for those who joined me belatedly, we looked at our thesis for tonight, which I titled, Our Leader lies like a horse when it is trotting. In the colloquial parlance, we say our leader lies like a horse at trot. And we looked at the deliberate falsehood that this administration delivers with confidence, repeated until confusion sets in and the truth is exhausted. When challenged, excuses replace answers, and blame is passed instead of responsibility being taken. I want us to be clear as I depart tonight, my Straight Talk family, that a leader who lies constantly does not lead. He or she manipulates. He or she does not serve the people. He or she uses them. And every unchallenged lie lowers the standard of governance and insults the intelligence and dignity of the entire nation. We examine the U.S. St. Kitts Nevis migration MOU because the people of St. Kitts Nevis and Nevis deserve straight talk, not half-truths, not government spin, and certainly not secrecy wrapped in carefully worded releases. This so-called Memorandum of Understanding with the U.S., under which St. Kitts and Nevis may accept third country deportees or refugees, was not done in the best national interest. It was not done after consultation. It was not done transparently. And the reason this government needs this agreement, because the government needs money. They need money so badly because the economy is in serious trouble. The CBI program was the financial backbone of this country, but it was recklessly mismanaged under Terence Michael Drew. Just stop pretending otherwise. Just examine the fiscal reality in St. Kitts and Nevis. My Straight Talk family, we raising or cited the IMF fund and its Article 4 report. And we know from that report that Terence Michael Drew ran a fiscal deficit of approximately 11% of GDP in 2024. The citizenship by investment revenues collapsed, falling from an estimated 22% of GDP to roughly 8% in a single year. And that was a direct result, a direct consequence of policy confusion, poor external signaling, and reckless handling of the CBI program. And it gets worse, because the IMF projections show that the 2025 fiscal deficit remains dangerously high, still hovering around 10% of GDP. And I can't help but repeating the former Deputy Prime Minister made mention of the deficit situation. And as an accountant himself, no doubt, it was not difficult for Richards to summarize this.
For the year 2024, Parliament approved an expenditure budget of 1.09 billion, which included 33 million in debt repayment. Revenue for the year was estimated at 1.14 billion, and this included the sale of government lands, which was budgeted to bring in 15 million. During 2024, a further 177 million of expenditure was approved by supplementary appropriation warrants. As at December 31st, 2024, actual revenue totaled 807 million and actual expenditure amounted to 1.069 billion, which resulted in an end-of-year deficit of $261 million. So, Madam Speaker, when you look at all three documents, 2024, 2025, and 2026, we're seeing massive budget deficits. If you total them, Madam Speaker, you're speaking of approximately $708 million, almost $250 million in budget deficits in 3 short years, 2024, 2025, and 2026 deficits.
$750 million in 3 years. But there are more questions than answers regarding this deal signed in silence. And the first one, why was this agreement signed in secrecy? No public consultation, no parliamentary debate, no publication of the MOU. And we're told, don't worry, trust us. Trust what? Trust a government that refuses to explain? How many people may be sent here? For how long? Under what legal status? With what long-term obligations? My straight dog family, what is the judicial basis for the U.S. to deport someone to a country not his own? And we examined it. To start with, would the country of origin be a party? Which self-respecting country of origin would agree for their citizen to be deported to somewhere rather other than their country? We understand that some Barbadians would be coming to St. Kitts. But why would Barbadians not go back to Barbados? So could the treaty decide that I be deported from the US to Russia without any consultation with me by anybody? That seems to be a human rights issue, my straight dog family. One would first have to conclude that deportation to the country of origin cannot take place. But then in that case, the person becomes a refugee and can claim asylum. But this sounds like imprisonment or punishment by another name. But I want to expose as well the CBI recklessness that gave us all these consequences. 2 years ago, Manley himself indulged in the recklessness which helped to damage the CBI. And he cried, he begged.
Ask the question, why would any of us join with anybody from outside to destroy a program that has served all of us?
Fair question. But we ask the question as well. Why are you asking members to come home, citizens to come home, when in fact you have introduced a destiny project that will sell land, or that is buying land, beg your pardon, from your own people to sell to foreigners? And you come now with your smartness, Brantley. Smart as it is. And calling our citizens in the diaspora to come home. You'll make land available for $1 per square foot. Liar. You're selling all the lands to Olivia Johnson. And who is the go-between? Your wife. You told us that your wife is the go-between. The go-between. That's what you call it. The go-between Johnson and the landowners. Our country is not a dumping ground. Our sovereignty is not for sale. The deal was never meant for public scrutiny, only for fiscal rescue. A nation deserves leaders who walk forward in truth, not one who trot endlessly in lies. Even worse, across the barrows, the narrows. I just posted the Mark Brantley's social media, his social media post. He talks about brain gain for what's happening with the USA and these refugees. But Mark Anthony Graham Brantley cannot be trusted, because in one breath he's asking our people to come home, yet in another breath he's creating an SEC to accommodate 2,400 people over there in this Destiny Project. Caller, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Can you use it?
Well, that's sufficient.
Yes, please. I'm wrapping up. Yeah.
The word of God says, Psalm 41, blessed is the man that considereth the poor.
True.
In the time of trouble,
he will.
The Lord shall deliver him.
Yes.
Now, in Proverbs chapter 6, it talks about a liar. And so practice me ain't going no further than there.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your understanding, the Bible man. And as we wrap, the mixed messages from our leaders I was making reference to. In one breath, Brantley's asking his people to come home. Yet in another breath, he's trying to create this SEZ. His wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, is the go-between, a rich millionaire, and Olivia Johnson, who buys out 2,400 acres of land, which he called a game changer. What will change? What will change? We ask you. But we cannot build a future on deception, I conclude. We cannot solve problems with false words. The time has come to roundly and squarely reject these leaders. The time has come to reject their leadership that treat lying as routine and truth as optional. Let us demand better. Better words, better actions, and better character. A nation deserves a leader who walks forward in truth, not one who trots endlessly through lies. And our leader lies like a horse when it is trotting. Or as our elders would say, lie like horse a trot. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. But I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. As always, I want to thank you, the many viewers, those who sent emails, and those who called. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. And I leave you with that quotation, which has, like most, have caught my attention. Politics is the only profession where you can lie, cheat, and steal still be respected. No man can be rich in politics unless he's a crook. I would like to change that perception about politicians. But so, until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet. Let's go to church. Let's do our chores for the weekend. And just remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praise.